Friends, I'm Chandrasekhar, and this is 13th, I think, in our series of lectures on the D charts, that is the divisional charts. This is called either the Bhausha, Bha means nakshatra, which are 27, as you know. I mean, though Abhijit is used, but it is rarely used, except in, if I remember right, Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, we rarely use Abhijit nakshatra, so 27. So Bhausha or SaptviMshāMsha, both mean the same thing. In English, we generally call it D27 for ease of understanding better. So now what we are going to look at. As usual, I always bank upon the sage Parashar and the savants of astrology. What is said, how, what is to be seen from how? What is to be seen from the D20s? It is said, Bhashya Chaiva Bala Balam. Bala means strength, Abala means weakness. So from Bhavasya, one should look at the strength of the Jataka. Now we know there are two types of strength. One is the bodily strength, which can be called as and the self-confidence, etc., etc. And the other one is more on the mental side of it. So you can call it valor if you want, and that is why this refers to the third bhava in a way. So this is application amplification of the third bhava of a chart, especially in the matter of obviously success. Because third bhav we look at for success, and you have to have both the valor. You have to have. I mean, you may be courageous outwardly, but sometimes inwardly you might not be confident when you are more likely to fail than succeed in life. So this is how we look at it. So what I shall do is first try to share the uh, screen as I always do, and then we will uh, go ahead with the lecture. These are always short lectures, as you know, and so we are looking at the screen now. As is usual, on the left side you will see the natal chart. On the right side, the D27 chart with D27 written in the top square. And here we see that Scorpio rises. Now, what should we look at? I mean, we will be following the same system that we have followed till now: the Karaka, the Lord, etc. Isn't it? So, Karaka for the Lagna will be naturally Sun, the Lord of the Lagna, that is ascendant, will be Mars, and then for the third house, that is the Valor, we look at the third house, which happens to be Capricorn, whose Lord is Saturn, and Mars, who is Karaka for, the third bhava. Mars is a fighter, so we need not worry much about it. Why it is? I mean, many a times people think, why is he given, the Karakatva of the third bhava? There are, of course, many reasons, including the siblings, etc., also are represented by him because they add to your strength. They should normally uh, add to the strength of a person. So, this is why Mars is generally considered to be the Karaka, the planet who causes something to be done in that respect. And what we are looking at is here in the D27 chart. You will find there would not be much difference between what happens in the ascendant chart, that is the Lagna chart or Rashi chart as we call it, and the D27. D27 even gives out a bit more of the flavors. So what is happening here? We see that Saturn, the Karaka for valor. Okay, let us start with now. Why am I jumping the guns? We start with the Lagna. The physical strength also is indicated by Lagna, that is the ascendant. I sometimes use the word Lagna or ascendant, but you have been following my lectures all the while, so you understand what is Lagna. This is for English speakers, rather those who do not know the Sanskrit part of it. So, what is happening there? Or what is the inner strength and the self-confidence? So, we can see that Sun who is the Karaka for the ascendant, is occupying its SaptviMshāMsha of exaltation. That is Aries. Sun gets exaltation in Aries. So he is pretty strong. What happens to Mars? Mars, who is the lord of the ascendant, aspects the ascendant, but not with the planetary aspect. So we are not taking planetary aspect here. Here we will be taking the Rashi aspects. So there is no aspect there except of Sun, who is the Karaka for your bodily strength, the Atmabal, the self-confidence, etc. He aspects the ascendant, as we can see, because Sun is in a cardinal Rashi, it aspects the fixed Rashi. So, and then Mars himself, what happens to him? He is posited in a square which is called the Sthanabala. You must have rather read about the Kendra Adibala, Kendra and other strengths which are to be seen. They are also to be seen in the divisional charts. And so he is pretty strong in that way. So the body of the Jataka will also be strong. We know he is in his, mid 90s and still going strong, because ultimately your valor without health issues might be, with some health issues might not be that powerful. Okay, having said that, we can see that what is left is about, we now see at the Lord of the third house in the SaptviMshāMsha. Now here we see so many planets aspecting it, and it aspects also in turn so many planets. So Saturn, because he is in a dual Rashi, aspects Rahu, Venus, Ketu and Moon, Moon who is the Karaka for mind, and they also in turn aspect Saturn. So which means Saturn again is placed in a trine. So he gets the directional, or rather strength from placement in a chart. He is also Lord of the 10th house, fourth house, and he is Lord of the third house. So, in effect, what is happening is, what was his strength? Let us see. So, Lord of the strength, valor is aspecting Rahu, who by a its very nature is given to analysis. Being a bit suspicious, so going deep into things, analyzing, etc., which, as you know anyway, was his strength. Saturn himself, I always consider Saturn to be the Karaka for the stock market or wherever speculations are concerned. It could as well be gambling. So, I mean, don't be shocked by the word. These are all speculative games. Though stock market is more his area, because there also a lot of calculation has to be taken. A lot of patience you have to survive in a stock market for a long time, as no doubt Mr. Warren Buffett has. And then again, Venus aspect is there. So again, he would be dealing something in textiles, etc., etc. He might not be, but Venus is in debility, so perhaps textiles might not suit him. And the textile mill that he purchased, he sold it. I mean, he converted it to the investment for the Berkshire Hathaway. Ketu and Moon are there. Ketu is always give and again catch over something. So and mind itself, but Ketu with Moon is not supposed to be good for stability of mind, but here the great Saturn is also. So he would be very cautious in doing things, not going half cocked anywhere. And this is how we would like to understand the strength of, the D27 chart. What would be the bodily weakness? Because we have seen the strengths, that's fine, but bodily weakness can also be there. So we go to the eighth house of, uh, the D27 chart. We see its Lord Mercury is occupying the sixth bhava, which, as you know, is also bhava of diseases. And then on the other side, we see that the eighth bhava itself is aspected by the combination of Ketu and Moon. Generally, Ketu and Moon can indicate possibility of cancer. Uh, Many a times it can be extremely serious, but it was not. And Rahu is sitting in the area which is the anal area. Rahu is anyway mysterious, and he suffered from you know prostate cancer, and but as the bodily strength is great, we saw the ascendant is powerful, the Karaka is powerful, its Lord is powerful. So in effect, though this happened, he recovered. Many doctors say surprisingly fast, and is now hale and hearty. So the physical strength part of it, the mental strength part of it, both are taken care of in the D27. If we want to look at it, we know the Lord of the it's going to the sixth house generally indicates something which is neglected, which suddenly then comes out at a later stage, etc. And that is what happened here. But this is not about the diseases per se. This has to do with the bodily weakness. So please remember this, that here Bala and Abala is talked about, strengths and weaknesses of a person are talked about. What would they be? It would be physical weakness or the mental weakness. What sort of mental weakness? Because we are talking about strength, so we go to the third house of valor. So we try to analyze the third house, its lord, etc., in the D27 chart. As you will see, and I'm sure you also will understand that we are also, I have talked about it umpteen number of times that in Vinshopakabala, here we take the Shodasha Varga Bala, 16 divisional charts. So all strengths are to be considered in this area. So because there he gets the maximum number of points, SaptviMshāMsha. So we see a very peculiar thing. Sun has 14.78 points of out of 20 is the Vinshopakabala, the 20-point strength. Anything above 10 is good. As it approaches 15 and above, it is excellent. So here we see Sun, who is the Karaka for the Lagna, and aspects the Lagna also. So there is influence on the Lagna of Sun. Wants to have enough strength. Next, we see generally Mercury. I think I made a mistake and left out Mars, but Mars's strength is 13.25. This was my mistake while creating this slide, but I am sure you are kind enough to understand it. In other our lectures also, we have given the strength of Mars. That is 13.25 in the uh, D27, that is the Shodasha Bala, 16 division strength is 13.25. So it is again going nearer the 15 point mark. Jupiter is 10.25, etc., etc. You can see Mercury is 14.78. And so what we see here is Mercury also here happens to be the lord of the 11th house, though this is not about income. But I'm giving the general pattern. So here every planet is 16 Varga string is above 10. Some are nearer 15. Both the Karakas are near 15. All other planets are also more than 10. Ketu is a bit more than Rahu, but so naturally Ketu being a bit more than Rahu would afflict Moon a bit more than Rahu, because ultimately we know that Rahu also extends his aspect on the Ketu Moon combination. Here we are taking Rashi aspects only. So, my dear friends, this might have seemed a bit complicated, but it's not so. I mean, you know about it. I did not tell you this. And So we come to the end of this D27 analysis. These are all short lectures, deliberately so. It is a bit complex. I mean, and I never hide that I usually use the D1 and D9 only. In rare cases where I have some doubt as to why such a thing has happened, then I go for the divisional charts because they show only a flavor, not the entire part, not the entire body, one limb of a body, that sort of thing I look at it. And here, since the distance in degrees is not actually 10 or 20 or 30, uh, planets at 180 degrees apart can be close to each other also. And that is why we look at the Russias. So I shall take your leave. And again, sorry for having forgotten to put in Shodash Varga Bala of Mars, which is 13.25. So I shall take your leave and a very good night.